After the alarm stopped ringing and the soldiers left the station, Jiho felt a small relief. But inside he knew this was only the beginning. Arin was not like any other being he had ever met. She was a mystery, a secret that could change everything. In the quiet of the station's hidden room, Jiho sat beside Arin. Her silver skin still glowed faintly in the dark. She looked at him with a mix of sadness and hope. Jiho wanted to understand more about her. Who was she? Where did she come from? Why was she the last of her kind? Arin's blue eyes searched Jiho's face. She reached out her hand slowly and touched his palm. Jiho felt a small warmth. It was not just a touch. It was like she was sharing a feeling, a memory, but it was not clear yet. For days, Arin tried to explain her story. She could not speak their language well, so she used pictures on the tablet Jiho gave her. She drew stars, planets, and strange symbols. Then she drew people like her, tall, thin with shining skin and glowing tattoos. They were called Virelans. Jiho finally understood. You are the last one? Arin nodded slowly. Her eyes grew heavy with pain. The Virelans were a strong and peaceful race, she said, her voice soft but full of meaning. We could feel the energy of the universe. We used it to heal and protect, but during the expansion wars we were hunted. Our home was destroyed. Jiho listened carefully. The expansion wars were stories he had heard before. Great conflicts between different species and human colonies over planets and power. Many races were lost during those wars, but the Virelans were not on any list. They were forgotten. Why did they hunt your people? Jiho asked. Arin looked down. Fear. Humans and others feared what they did not understand. They thought we were dangerous. Jiho felt anger rise inside him. Fear could destroy everything. Trust, life, hope. Arin's story gave him new purpose. He wanted to protect her, not just because she was hurt, but because she was important. She was a living piece of a lost history, a link to something greater. One day while Jiho worked on fixing the station's power core, Arin sat quietly nearby. She closed her eyes and reached out her hands. Suddenly, the small plants growing in the room started to glow softly. The air felt warm and alive. Jiho stopped what he was doing and watched, amazed. He realized Arin's power was real. Not magic, but a natural energy connected to life itself. Your people are not gone, Jiho said softly. You carry their strength inside you. Arin smiled faintly, but her eyes were full of sorrow. I am alone. Jiho shook his head. Not anymore. But danger was coming. The Terran Union did not forget so easily. A new officer, Dayun, was sent to Deimos IV. She was smart and careful, with a strong sense of duty. She believed in the Union's laws and the safety of humans. Dayun arrived quietly but with a clear mission: to find any signs of alien life or illegal activity. She studied the planet and the station carefully. Jiho watched her from a distance. She was sharp and fast, but she did not know the whole truth. One afternoon, Jiho was fixing a communication antenna outside when Dayun appeared. She greeted him politely, but her eyes were serious. Jiho, have you noticed anything unusual on the planet? She asked. Jiho thought quickly. No, just normal maintenance. Dayun nodded, but her gaze lingered on the ruins near the cliff. I will be checking those ruins, she said. We must keep the planet safe. Jiho felt a cold knot in his stomach. He knew the ruins were the key to Arin's past and the Virelan sanctuary. If Dayun found them, it would be trouble. That night, Jiho told Arin about Dayun. Arin's eyes filled with worry. They will find me, Arin whispered. Jiho held her hand firmly. Not if I stop them. Together they planned. Jiho would keep Arin hidden and try to keep Dayun away from the ruins, but he knew it would not be easy. Days later, strange energy readings appeared near Deimos IV. The station's sensors picked up pulses of power that no one understood. The readings came from the direction of the ruins. Dawn studied the data carefully. She grew more curious and decided to lead a small team to investigate. Jiho felt the pressure growing. He worked fast to build a better hiding place for Aaron deep inside the station. Aaron helped by using her energy to strengthen the walls, making them almost invisible to sensors. The night before Daeun's arrival, Aaron and Jiho sat together in the quiet room. "Why do you believe in me?" Aaron asked softly. Jiho looked at her. "Because I see the truth. Because no one else will. You are not a ghost or a myth. You are real. And I will protect you." Aaron smiled. It was the first time she looked truly happy in many years. The next morning, Daeun and her team landed near the ruins. They moved carefully, scanning the ground and air for signs of life. Jiho watched from the station, his heart pounding. He wished he could stop them, but he knew he had to be smart. Suddenly, Daeun's team found something. A faint trace of energy, just like the readings. They moved closer to the old building. Inside the station, Jiho prepared for the worst. He told Aaron to be ready to move if needed, but before anything happened, a strange event took place. The energy from Aaron's body grew stronger, reacting to the team's scanners. Lights flickered in the ruins. The ancient walls hummed softly. The plants outside began to glow, and the air shimmered with power. Daeun's team stopped in surprise. The lead officer called for caution. Jiho realized Aaron's presence was awakening something. The memory of her people, the power hidden in the sanctuary. He looked at Aaron, who was calm but focused. "We are not alone here," she said. "They must understand." Daeun stepped forward, lowering her weapon slightly. "What is this?" she asked quietly. Jiho took a deep breath. "She is the last of the Virulans, a species lost to history. I believe her." Daeun stared at Aaron, then at Jiho. For a moment, silence filled the air. Then slowly, Daeun nodded. "We must learn more," she said. "Not just destroy or capture. Maybe we can protect what is left." Jiho felt a spark of hope. Aaron reached out her hand to Daeun, a gesture of peace. The soldiers lowered their weapons. The old ruins were no longer just broken stones. They were a bridge to a new future. Jiho knew the road ahead would be hard. The Terran Union might still want to take control. But for now, he was not alone. Aaron was with him. And for the first time in a long time, she was not alone either. Together, they began a new journey to protect the last of a lost species and to find hope among the stars. Jiho was a quiet man. He worked as an engineer on a small space station near a distant planet called Deimos IV. The planet was cold and covered with strange rocks and deep forests. It was far away from Earth and the big cities of the Terran Union. Jiho liked the quiet. He liked to work alone and think. One day, while checking the outer parts of the station, Jiho's ship had a small problem. The engine made a strange noise. He needed to fix it quickly before the next ship came. So he decided to take a short walk on the planet's surface near the station. The air was thin, but safe to breathe, thanks to the station's suits. Jiho walked carefully, looking for the broken part of his ship's engine. He walked past tall trees with blue leaves and strange rocks that shone softly in the dim sunlight. Suddenly he saw something odd. There was a broken structure near a cliff. It looked like the remains of a building, but it was very old and strange. Curious, Jiho went closer. The building was made of metal and glass, but it was covered in dirt and moss. It looked like no one had been there for hundreds of years. Jiho's heart beat faster. He knew this place was not on any map. The Terran Union had never told him about it. As he entered the ruin, the air felt cold and heavy. The light was dim, but Jiho's suit gave him enough light to see. He found strange symbols on the walls. They looked like writing, but he could not read them. Suddenly he heard a soft sound. It was like a whisper, but no wind moved. Jiho followed the sound until he found a small room. There, lying on the floor, was a woman. She looked different from any human Jiho had seen before. Her skin was smooth and silver, and her hair glowed faintly like the stars. She had bright blue eyes that looked tired but full of life. Jiho stepped back, surprised and confused. The woman was badly hurt. She had cuts on her arms and legs and her breathing was weak. She looked at Jiho with hope and fear. "Please," she said softly, her voice like music. "Help me." Jiho did not know what to do. He wanted to help, but he was afraid. What if she was dangerous? What if the Terran Union found out? They did not like aliens who were different, but Jiho's heart was kind. He knew he had to help her. He carried her back to his ship carefully. The woman did not resist. She trusted him. Back on the station, Jiho hid her in an empty room. He gave her water and cleaned her wounds. She looked weak but calm. Jiho wanted to ask her many questions, but she was too tired to talk. Days passed. Jiho watched over the woman whose name was Aaron. She slowly recovered. Aaron could not speak much English, but she tried to communicate. She used her hands and drew pictures on a tablet Jiho gave her. Jiho learned that Aaron was from a planet far away, a planet called Virella. She was the last of her people, a species lost to time and war. Her people had special powers like sensing energy and feeling others' emotions. Aaron and Jiho became friends. They shared stories of their worlds. Jiho told her about Earth, about humans, and about the stars. Aaron told him about Virella, about her lost home and the great wars that destroyed her people. Jiho wanted to believe her story, even though it sounded like a fairy tale. He could see the pain in her eyes and the truth in her voice. One night, while Jiho was fixing a machine, the station's alarms rang loudly. The Terran Union had sent soldiers to check the area. They wanted to find any illegal aliens or unknown technology. Jiho knew they would find Aaron if he did not act fast. He helped her hide in a secret room he built long ago. Behind the walls of the station, the soldiers searched everywhere, but did not find her. Jiho felt his heart beating fast. He was scared but also proud. He was the only human who believed in Aaron, the only one who wanted to protect her. As the soldiers left, Jiho looked at Aaron and smiled. "You are safe here," he said softly. "I will not let them hurt you." Aaron smiled back, her eyes shining, with hope. The story of Jiho and Aaron was just beginning, a story of trust, friendship, and the fight to save the last of a lost people. The days after Daeun's visit were tense. Jiho and Aaron knew the Terran Union would not forget the strange energy readings or the ruins. The Union was a large organization that controlled many planets and people. It wanted order and power, and it did not like unknown things that it could not control. Jiho watched the stars from the station's small window. The distant lights of other planets and ships were bright and cold. He felt the weight of the secret he carried. Aaron was safe, but only because he kept her hidden. Aaron sat beside him, quiet but alert. She was still weak from her wounds and the long journey. She could feel the danger, too. The Union's interest was growing, and they might return with stronger forces. One afternoon, Daeun came back to the station. This time, she was not alone. 2 other officers accompanied her. They brought scanners and weapons, ready for a serious search. Jiho greeted them carefully. "What brings you here again?" he asked, trying to sound calm. Daeun looked at him with her sharp eyes. "We need to know everything about the ruins and the energy readings. The Union is sending a team to investigate and secure the site." Jiho's, heart sank. "If they find Aaron, they won't protect her. They will take her or destroy the ruins." Daeun sighed. "I understand your concern, but the Union has rules. Unknown species and artifacts must be studied or removed. It is for safety." Jiho clenched his fists. "You don't understand. Aaron is not just an alien. She is the last of her kind. The Virellans. They were peaceful and powerful. They had a deep connection to energy and life." Daeun's face softened, slightly. "If that is true, then we must be careful. But the Union's orders are clear." Aaron stood slowly and moved toward the officers. Her glowing skin was faint but visible. She spoke in her soft voice. "Please, don't harm the sanctuary. It holds the memories of my people." The officers looked surprised. One of them, a young man named Hyun, stepped forward. He was curious, but cautious. "Can you show us what this sanctuary is?" Hyun asked. Aaron nodded and gestured for them to follow her. Jiho was nervous but agreed. If the Union learned the truth, maybe they could protect the ruins and Aaron's story. They walked toward the cliff and the ruins. The air was still and full of quiet power. The soldiers scanned the area with their devices. The ruins began to glow softly as Aaron's energy touched the stones. Inside the largest building, Aaron touched a crystal that shone like a star. Suddenly the walls around them lit up with images and sounds. The history of the Viralans appeared like a hologram. Jiho and the officers watched in awe. They saw a world of light and peace, where the Viralans lived in harmony with nature and energy. They saw the great war that destroyed their home. Ships burning, cities falling, and many lives lost. The images showed how the Viralans tried to hide their knowledge to survive. But fear and hate from other species made it impossible. The last of them fled to secret places hoping to live another day. The officers were silent. Diane looked at Jiho and Aaron with respect. "This changes everything," she said quietly. "The Union must rethink its plans." Hyun nodded. "We should protect this place, not destroy it." Jiho felt hope rising. Maybe the Union was not all bad. But the peace did not last long. A few days later, a large Terran Union ship arrived near Deimos IV. It was filled with soldiers, scientists, and high-ranking officers. They came with orders to claim the ruins and remove any threats. Jiho and Aaron watched the ship from the station. The team was bigger and more powerful than before. The Union wanted control. Aaron's energy grew stronger. She could feel the anger and fear in the soldiers. She knew they would not stop easily. Jiho made a decision. "We cannot let them destroy the sanctuary," he said. "We must protect it no matter what." Aaron looked at him with trust. "I will help." Together, they prepared. Jiho used his knowledge of the station and planet to build defenses. Aaron used her energy to strengthen the sanctuary's hidden places. They worked day and night, readying for the coming storm. When the Union team landed, they found more resistance than expected. The plants around the ruins moved as if alive, blocking paths and confusing sensors. Strange lights danced in the air, making it hard to aim weapons. The soldiers grew frustrated but careful. Daeun was with them, trying to keep peace, but her orders were clear: secure the area. Jiho and Aaron stayed hidden, watching. They knew they could not fight a full battle. Instead, they used Aaron's power to disrupt the Union's technology without hurting anyone. The tension grew. One night, as the stars shone above, Daeun found Jiho alone near the station. "We don't have to fight," she said quietly. "There is another way." Jiho looked at her, tired but hopeful. "Tell me." Daeun explained that some officers in the Union wanted to protect alien cultures and learn from them. They called themselves the Preservation Group, but they worked quietly and carefully. "If you can prove Aaron's story and the sanctuary's importance, they might help," Daeun said. Jiho felt a spark of hope. Maybe this was the chance they needed. He returned to Aaron and told her the plan. "We must show them the truth," he said. "Not with weapons, but with stories and proof." Aaron agreed. "My people's memory must live. Not in fear, but in hope." Together, Jiho and Aaron prepared to meet the Preservation Group. They knew it would be hard. The Union was powerful and strict, but they had something stronger: trust and belief. The night before the meeting, Aaron shared a moment with Jiho. "Thank you," she said softly, "for believing in me when no one else did." Jiho smiled. "You are not alone anymore." The stars outside twinkled, full of possibilities. The story of the last Viralan and the human who believed in her was far from over. It was just the start of a new chapter, one of courage, hope, and the fight to save what was left of a lost world. The next morning, Jiho and Aaron prepared to meet the Preservation Group. The group was a small, secret team inside the Terran Union. They wanted to protect lost species and cultures instead of destroying or controlling them. But they had to work quietly because not everyone in the Union agreed with them. Jiho felt nervous. This was a big risk. If the wrong people found out, Aaron would be in more danger than ever. But it was their only chance. Erin's glowing silver skin looked calm but strong. She had grown stronger since arriving at the station. Her blue eyes held hope, something Jiho had not seen in a long time. They met the preservation group inside, a secure room on the station. The group was led by a woman named Mira. Mira was kind but firm. She had worked with many species and knew the risks. Jiho introduced Aaron carefully. "She is the last of the Virulans," he said, "a peaceful race with a deep connection to energy and life." Mira listened closely. She asked many questions, but she did not judge. Instead, she wanted to learn. Aaron used the tablet to show the history of her people, the light-filled world, the Great War, the hiding and the loss. She also showed the energy powers the Virulans had. The group was amazed. "This is important," Mira said. "The Union must protect this. We cannot lose this knowledge." But there was a problem. The Union was divided. Some leaders wanted to control or destroy anything unknown. Others wanted peace and learning. Mira explained, "We need proof that the Virulans are peaceful and valuable, and we need to protect the sanctuary here. It is more than ruins. It holds the spirit of a lost people." Jiho nodded. "We must show the Union the truth, not just with words, but with what Aaron can do." The preservation group planned a demonstration. They invited important Union officials to the station. Aaron would show her powers and the sanctuary's energy. They hoped this would change minds. Jiho and Aaron worked hard to prepare. Aaron practiced using her energy carefully, healing small plants and making lights dance in the air. She wanted to show the beauty and peace of her people, but not everyone was happy. Some Union officers did not trust Aaron. They saw her as a threat. They believed power like hers could be dangerous. One officer, Commander Ree, was especially strict. He watched everything with suspicion. He believed the Union should be strong and control everything, even if it meant war. The day of the demonstration arrived. The station was filled with nervous energy. Jiho stood beside Aaron, ready to support her. Mira welcomed the Union officials. She spoke about the importance of peace and knowledge. Then Aaron stepped forward. She raised her hands and soft blue light spread from her fingertips. The plants around the room began to glow and move gently as if alive. The walls shimmered with images of Virella's history. The officials watched in silence, some with wonder, others with doubt. Aaron then healed a small bird that had been hurt during the station's supply mission. The bird flew around the room healthy and free. This moved many people. Jiho saw Commander Ree's face harden. He whispered to his guards and left the room early. After the demonstration, Mira spoke to the group. "We must protect Aaron and the sanctuary, but we also must be ready for challenges. Not everyone will accept this." Jiho nodded. "We will fight for her, for the Virulans." Days passed, and the preservation group worked to build support inside the Union. They shared Aaron's story and the sanctuary's importance. Slowly, more people listened. But Commander Ree was not silent. He gathered officers who agreed with him. They planned to take control of the ruins by force. One night, Jiho received a warning from Mira. "Ree's group is moving. They will come to the station soon." Jiho hurried to Aaron. "We must prepare. They want to take you and the sanctuary." Aaron's eyes were calm but fierce. "I will not let them destroy what is left of my people." Together they planned to protect the station and the sanctuary. Jiho set traps and alarms. Aaron used her energy to shield the hidden rooms. The night of the attack came. Ree's soldiers landed quietly near the station. They moved fast, trying to surprise the defenders. Jiho and the preservation group were ready. They met the soldiers with courage and strategy. Aaron stood in the center of the sanctuary, her energy shining brightly. She raised her hands and the plants around the ruins moved like a wall, blocking the soldiers. The soldiers fired their weapons, but the energy shield stopped the attacks. Aaron's power was strong, but she did not want to hurt anyone. Jiho led a group to stop the soldiers who tried to break the station's outer defenses. They fought carefully, avoiding serious harm. In the battle, Jiho saw Commander Ri. He was angry and desperate. He wanted to capture Aren at any cost. Jiho stepped forward to face him. "You don't understand what you are fighting," Jiho said. "This is not just power. It is a connection to life and hope." Ri sneered. "You are weak. The Union will control everything." Aren used her energy to block Ri's path. Her glowing hands held a calm but strong force. "Stop this fight," Aren said softly. "There is no victory in hate." Ri looked into her eyes and hesitated. At that moment, Mira arrived with more preservation group members. They surrounded Ri's soldiers and told them to stand down. The battle ended without bloodshed. After the fight, the Union officials who supported the preservation group demanded a new decision. They wanted to protect the sanctuary and work with Aren to learn. From the Virulans. Commander Ri and his followers were sent away for questioning. Jiho looked at Aren and smiled. "You did it. We did it." Aren smiled back. "We did it together." The sanctuary was safe for now. The Virulans' story was no longer hidden. It was a light in the darkness. Jiho knew this was only the beginning. The future held many challenges, but also hope. Together, Jiho and Aren would protect the last of a lost species and fight for a better future among the stars. The sanctuary was safe. For the first time in a long time, the air around the station felt peaceful. The plants inside the ruins were bright and full of life. The energy that Aren shared with the place made everything feel warm and calm. Jiho sat by the window in the station, looking out at the stars. So much had changed. He had come to this quiet planet to escape, to be alone. But now he was part of something big, something important. He had helped protect a lost people. He had found a friend who was more than just special. Aren had changed his life. Aren stood beside him. Her silver skin glowed softly in the low light. Her eyes were peaceful but also a little sad. "My people are gone," she said quietly, "but their story will live on. Thanks to you." Jiho turned to her. "Not just me. You brought that story to life. You are that story." Mira and the preservation group continued working to help. They were gathering everything from the ruins, images, crystals, and energy patterns. They wanted to build a library of Virellan knowledge that could be shared across the stars. The Terran Union had officially declared the sanctuary a protected site. No one could attack it or take anything without approval. Commander Ri and his group were sent back to Earth for trial. Many officers had now started to respect the idea of peace, not just control. But Aren knew the danger was not over. "There are others out there," she said one night. "Other powers not part of the Union. They will hear about me, about the Virulans, and they might not come in peace." Jiho nodded. "Then we'll be ready." They both knew the truth. Just because the Union had accepted Aren, it didn't mean the galaxy would. The Virellan power was rare and valuable. Some people would want to steal it, use it, or destroy it. But Aren was not afraid. Not anymore. A few weeks later, Aren gave the preservation group something very special. It was a crystal from the heart of the sanctuary. Inside the crystal were songs. Songs of the Virellan people, recorded by memory and energy. The music was soft and full of light. When people heard it, they felt calm. Some even cried. Mira said, "This is not just sound, this is soul." They made a choice. They would share the crystal with the rest of the Union. Carefully, with respect. It would remind people that peace, not power, should lead the future. Soon a special event was held across Union space. They called it the Day of Light. Every planet and station in the Union played the Virellan songs at the same time. People stopped what they were doing and listened. In schools, in ships, in busy cities, everywhere, the music filled the air. It was the first time many people truly felt what the Virellan stood for, and it was the first time Aren felt hope for the galaxy. But the peace was tested again. A message came from deep space, from a group of raiders known as the Kolari. The Kolari were not part of the Union. They were known for attacking ships and stealing rare tech, and now they had heard about the Virilan power. They sent a warning. Surrender the Virilan, or we take her by force. The station became alert. The Union sent more defense ships. Mira and the others prepared for the worst. Jiho stood beside Aaron. We won't let them take you, he said. I'm not leaving, Aaron replied. This place is my home now. I will protect it. The Kalari ship arrived 3 days later. It was large and dark, like a floating shadow in space. It sent drones toward the planet, scanning for life and energy. But Aaron was ready. She walked alone to the highest point of the ruins. Her arms stretched out, her energy glowing brighter than ever before. She reached into the sanctuary, deep into the stones and soil, and called the planet itself. The vines and plants rose like an army. The wind howled, carrying energy across the land. Lights danced in the sky. The Kalari drones were blinded and pulled down by the planet's power. Their systems failed. The ship tried to fire weapons, but the energy field around the ruins bent the beams away. Jiho watched in awe. Aaron was not fighting with hate. She was protecting life with strength and peace. Finally, the Kalari ship gave up and left. They had never seen anything like this before, and they were afraid. When it was over, Aaron fell to her knees. The energy had cost her much. Jiho ran to her side. Are you okay? She smiled weakly. Yes, the sanctuary helped me. My people helped me. After that day, no one questioned Aaron's right to exist. She was more than a survivor. She was a protector, a symbol of what the galaxy could become if it chose peace over fear. Mira helped arrange a new council within the Union. The council's goal was to protect not just Aaron, but other lost and hidden species. Jiho joined as an advisor. He knew what it meant to listen and believe when no one else would. And Aaron, she became something more than just the last of her kind. She became a teacher, a friend, a light in the stars. She visited schools on other planets. She showed children how the Virayans had lived. She helped scientists understand energy in new ways. She helped people feel again, feel wonder, feel hope. But every night she returned to Deimos 4. That place, those ruins, were her heart. Jiho stayed too. He helped take care of the sanctuary and watched the stars with her. Sometimes they didn't speak. They just looked at the sky and felt something new. Something like peace. One night, as they stood on the hill, Aaron turned to Jiho. You believed in me when no one else did, she said. Why? Jiho smiled. Because I saw your light, even when the world was full of darkness. She looked at him with gentle eyes. Then let's make sure the light never goes out. Together they watched the stars rise, and across the galaxy others did the same, listening to the songs of a people who were almost forgotten, but now would never be lost again.